What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life Baby. You already know how it is. So, as you can see, we got a bit of a new setup here. Hope you guys enjoy. But sorry I've been gone for a minute. I've been kind of sick. But getting better and back. But while I'm doing that, I've been actually working on a large clan analysis video. Gonna be going in depth with the clan, like really in depth. Talking about each and every single card and their viability within the deck or not in the deck. We'll be talking about certain matchups, things you need to watch out for, rulings, all that. So it's going to be a huge clan analysis video. I'm talking to a few people on how to structure it, things like that. But yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. Now, but for this video, I know it's kind of it's a PowerPoint in a way, but for this video, I wanted to talk about the risks and rewards of our restandards, between our grade 2s, Alko's title in them, and, our grade 3s, like Maelstrom and Diemantes, because, with now that Champions of the Asia Circuit has been released, Japan, we've been getting tournament results, and even before the actual official release, we've gotten been proxy testing, and we got the area update, so area testing's been going pretty well, and obviously, from my initial thoughts, I know that video I made I was pissed off at. From my initial thoughts, the clan, we have a strong chance of making a comeback with this set. I think that we actually have some really good matchups against a lot of the clans in the game, but it's not going to be easy. It's something that's going to be, Alko is not easy. It's hard. It's not easy to play. It's hard, but we can work through it, right? I'm here for you. Let's go. So risk and rewards restander. So going through it, we have the grade 2s and Diemantes. Now, they all have the same restand clause in terms of paying cost on attack when the battle requirement is met. And what I mean by that is that, when, on attack, they activate their restand ability. So, Title and Title can activate his restand ability at any point. Alko's does it first battle, Diemantes does it specifically third battle, Maelstrom does it on third and fourth attack. So, but Maelstrom is definitely different from these guys because Title and Diemantes will lose power on the attack that they pay the cost to restand on, but Title only after the first attack. So what I mean is that when you swing with Title Assault, and you swing with him for, let's say, 22k, and it's the second battle of the turn or more, when you have to pay the costs for his ability on attack, meaning that you're going to Soul Blast 1, you're going to reset him, he's going to lose 5k, so he's going to go from 22 to 17, so that attack is going to be in total just 17, not 22. So and the same thing with Diemantes. If he's swinging for 22, he's gonna lose the 3k and it's going to go down to 19 when he performs his ability. But cards like Maelstrom can help fix that somewhat, so to speak. So just know that that's something that's really important to know. If you're sitting there like, oh yeah, my Title Assault is going to hit a 22k Vanguard and restand, well, once you pay that cost, you're swinging for 17 now, not 22, and your attack's no longer going to hit, so you just wasted soul there. And then they also carry similar risk. Every restand going from my boy Title Assault all the way down to Maelstrom carries some type of risk involved with them for that type of ability, and it's understandable, but it's something that we're just going to have to live with. So let's just go into Alkos, and we're gonna look at what he is, and gonna talk a little about his costs and his risks and things like that nature. So when he attacks, you have second battle of the turn or more, it's a Soul Blast and a Counter Blast, and you get to stand one of your rear guards, and that's when he's on Vanguard. And when he attacks, first battle of the turn on a rear guard circle, Counter Blast want to restand him. So obviously a really strong, a pretty strong skill, especially for Aqua Force. Now the thing is, when he's on the Vanguard circle, you're going to be paying a counter blast and a soul blast, and the risk involved in that is that when you whatever rear guards you're choosing to restand, he's not guaranteed to hit. Now, if you swing your Algos at another rear guard and then you restand your rear guard, and then that rear guard would have freedom to attack whichever it is, another rear guard or a Vanguard, but usually in most cases, especially from where I've been testing, the your opponent is really just going to ride one card and swing and pass turn and things of that nature. So you're mostly going to be just attacking into a Vanguard, and a lot of times you're going to be doing one attack and then going into Algos. And so then when you decide to use Algos' ability, and I seldom use it, you're taking risk of, well, my opponent hits a damage trigger on either, if my opponent blocks the first attack and takes the second one hoping to hit a damage trigger, but I have to use this attack on attack, so that means before I drive check I have to use his ability. And if my opponent hits a trigger on damage and I don't hit a trigger to to level all of that out, then I just wasted a counter blast and some soul. So that's definitely a risk that you're gonna have to take. His second ability, when on the rear guard circle, I think that's his most useful, his most powerful ability. Even though his Vanguard ability is nice, it's good for some early pressure, some early rush, but you have to understand the risks involved in that. Also, if you're going to be doing some type of early rush with him, then you got to make sure that you either have like a backup plan to call another card out, because your opponent most likely is just going to attack your rear guards because they know how Aqua Force is, or you're going to need to make sure you have shielding to protect your rear guard, especially if it's like your only restander that you're visibly seeing right there until you top deck into another one or one of your main attacking cards. So it's just something that you need to be careful with. Like I said, I don't really use his skill a lot because because a lot of it is because of this next card, and I'm gonna go back to him and we're gonna talk about it in a second. So my boy Tyler, so as you guys know, he's probably my favorite card. He is my favorite card now, for he's my avatar. It's my boy right there, Tyler Salt. And so obviously they changed him from his original ability, which was he got a free restand on attack when he attacked a Vanguard, but now it's when he attacks anything, you Soul Blast one and you can stand him, and if it's the second battle of the turn or more, he gets power minus 5,000 to the end of turn. So as I said before, when he attacks and it's the second battle of the turn or more, and you pay his cost to restand him, he's going to attack and restand, but he will lose that 5k. So like I said, instead of if he's on the Excel circle, if you use Maelstrom's ability to put him to 22, instead of you swinging for 22, you're going to be swinging for 17. That's just going to be the reality of it. Same thing, you're playing Naval Gaze or whatever it is, he's going to be at 19, and when you swing with him and you use his restand ability, after the second battle, after your first battle, if you didn't use his ability already, he's not going to be 19, he's going to be 14. So he's going to be within that. You're going to have to plan around and be within that threshold. So then they definitely put limitations on him as well. That Soul Blast cost, and what I wanted to talk about, the Soul Blast cost, and we can do another video on this as well. But with the Soul Blast cost, when you ride your grade 3, we're only going to have 3 soul. Mostly, we're only gonna have 3 souls, so Tyler Salt got 3 shots basically, unless you're able to hit with Viviano or re-ride your grade 3. Tyler Salt has at least a guaranteed 3 shots. Now, going back to Algos, using Algos and Tyler Salt for a grade 2 rush turn sounds beautiful, sounds nice. You swing Tidal Assault, pay the cost, restand, he's at 9k, swing Tidal Assault again, then go Algos, swing Algos, pay the cost, restand Tidal Assault, swing Tidal Assault again. That sounds really nice. That sounds, that's basically 4 attacks from 2 cards. That's outstanding, but you have to understand the risk involved in it. Obviously a damage trigger ends it, but when usually you're gonna swing Tidal Assault first, right? And maybe you do it differently. Maybe just swing Tidal Assault, don't activate his ability, swing Algos, use his ability to reset Tidal Assault, and then Tidal Assault will swing it twice, maybe 7, if you put like a penguin behind him, 17, and then he'll be swinging for 12 twice because he's going to lose the 5k once you start using his ability, since it will be the third and fourth. He'll be the third and fourth battle. But the thing is, you're going to be losing a lot of soul. That turn is going to take 2 soul away from you, and so the risk involved with that is that you're only going to have Tile Assault guaranteed at least once. Again, unless you ride another grade 3, or you actually are able to hit with Viviana boosting on the 3rd battle or more on a Vanguard, then that's the only way you're going to be able to fill up soul for Tile Assault. So soul is really our most restricted resource. Counterblast is not, but soul is our most restricted resource. And again, the risk involved with using Tidal and Algos for that type of rush turn means that you're just going to be using soul, and hopefully it pays off, because your opponent can hit a heal trigger and heal off that damage. You can pay the cost for if you pay the cost for Tidal Assault first and then Algos, use his ability to restand, and that damage trigger can end your turn. Then you just wasted all that soul and the counter blast for nothing. So you just got to understand the risk involved if you're going to go for that type of turn. But in reality, Tile Assault is still really good, especially if you're struggling with Counter Blast. Tile Assault is definitely something, you just go in with a Soul Blast 1, get your restand off, get a multi-attack, and you're good to go. Really good on the Excel circle. But if he's on the rear guard circle, in order to make him more rewarding, you want to use stuff like the Penguin to boost him up, give him that extra 5k. And I think he definitely works best, most likely in a Maelstrom focus deck, because that +3 definitely helps out a lot. Now we have Diemantes. So Diemantes. Alright, so Diemantes to me is a card that could have been really, really strong, really good, but they really overcosted him with his ability. And so again, he fights for the first battle with Algos and Tile Assault a lot of times, even though Tile Assault doesn't state that. He really fights for that first battle just to get his 3k, which again, I feel like he's definitely a bit stronger in a Maelstrom deck, so to speak, because Maelstrom will give the 3k, and then he does get 3k, but if you use his restand ability, it's going to take it away. His restand ability is where I just have an issue with him, and from seeing a lot of the list of people that maybe top their locals or whatever it is, and I don't know about any giant tournaments yet. I don't think they've had a huge tournament like a 52 player case tournament or anything like that yet, but from my testing and from some results, some people have definitely been cutting out Diemantes from their deck, or reducing the copies of him in their deck to a smaller amount, because again, he is overcosted. You can't sugarcoat that. He is overcosted. Third battle or more cost, you counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand, stand this unit, and he loses 3,000 power. What gets me is the fact that you have to discard a card and he loses power. Again, his restand skill is okay, but not fantastic, because you're discarding a card. And the problem with, the risk with discarding a card is that we're Aqua Force, we're an Excel clan. We don't have the ability to gain extra resources outside of drawing and drive checking, unless we hit with Viviana, who gives us a card. Who gives us a card when she hits and goes into the soul. So because of that, that discard can definitely hurt, since we're not building up a huge hand in general. And then he loses 3,000 power on top of it on the stand. See, I'm fine with the loss of power, because it kind of just, he kind of follows Tidal Assault in that way. So, but the discarding card from the hand, to me, it's just a little bit overcosted. And depending on the situation of the game, and this is what I found out through my testing, is that depending on the situation of the game, that extra discard can really hurt you, especially if you're using it in conjunction with like Maelstrom. And unless it's like one of those turns where you're kind of going all in, going for like a super kill turn, whatever it is, then that discard can definitely hurt you. Like I said, with Maelstrom, his reset you discard 2. Him you discard 1. Even if you're getting 2 back from Maelstrom, that discard 1 is kind of a neg doing the neg anyway, and I believe in Aqua Force right now. We really can't afford negs again unless we're going for a kill turn, going for game, something that's in that situation. So really, to me, he's a decent card. He's kind of like a backup ride, but I think for what he does is like he's a decent card. He has come in the clutch. From my testing, he has come in the clutch. He has put in work with that extra restand. Algos can swing twice, then he can swing twice. Maelstrom gives him 3k, but then he takes 3k away from himself. So he just stays at whatever his base power is. Because that's what Maelstrom can provide for him, staying at his base power. Naval Gazer doesn't provide that boost to it. Not saying Naval Gazer is bad. I'm just stating a fact. Naval Gazer doesn't provide that boost to him, but Maelstrom does. So that's what. So the discard ability, discarding is just a little bit too much, a little bit overcosted for me personally, with the rest of his skill. But he's a decent, he's a decent card, decent restander. But again, right now the community is kind of torn between how many copies run him. People run him between like 0 to 3, I would say. So. Again, he's just going to require a lot more testing, a lot more figuring out, because we didn't get really a fantastic, oh my gosh, we have a decent grade 3 lineup. It's just, our grade 3s kind of like work better on the rear guard circle anyways, but it is. And then last but not least, we got the leader of the deck, to me, leader of the clan, whatever it is, Maelstrom. Some people, prefer the Naval Gazer build, and we're going to be having a discussion on the Maelstrom versus Naval Gazer build. I'm definitely going to be extensively testing both, because I believe that both of them are definitely separate builds. They attack a bit differently, set up differently, and, run a bit differently. So we're definitely going to be exploring in depth into that. But for my boy Maelstrom here, so you counterblast when all your front row units get 3,000 power to the end of turn, and when your rear guard's attack hits a Vanguard on the 3rd or 4th battle of the turn, then you get to discard 2 and restand Maelstrom. So to me, honestly, his best, most useful ability is that counterblast plus 3k. That's where Maelstrom to me really shines, and why I think I like Maelstrom more than where Naval Gazer is currently right now. But that plus 3 fixes so many things. When you're going up against another Excel or Protect clan, having Algos Tidal Assault at 22k, Lazarus swings for 15k, Maelstrom swings for 15k, and with an 8k boost on a Force clan with an 8k boost, that's a 23k column. So the fact that he gives 3,000 to the front row makes things that couldn't hit or could barely hit, hit for pretty good, hit for pretty good numbers, especially when we start getting to the discussion of we're going up against Force clans, we're going up against Protect and Excel clans. Protect and Excel clans, making those 22k columns is really important against Force clans. Being able to put cards like Lazarus, have him, instead of being just a 12k attacker on the Vanguard, make him be 15, and then with an 8k boost from like Viviana, that's 23k. You stack a trigger, you hit a front trigger 33k, it's gonna have a harder time guarding it. So that 3,000 ability really helps the deck with pressure, with making numbers, and it actually helps with the cost for paying for cards like Diemantes and Tidal Assault, who lose power. So instead of Tidal Assault losing 5,000 power, he's only going to lose a total of 2,000 power overall. So you could swing with the 22k Tidal, because you can give him the plus 3. Well, yeah, he's going to be at 20. He's going to be at 22k, and then you lose the 5k, and then he's going to be at 17 if you swing it afterwards. But the loss isn't as bad as if he didn't have it, because then it would be just 19 to 14, whereas opposed to 22 to 17, which is still good on Excel, so to speak. Sorry, I got my numbers totally messed up, but you get what I'm saying. That 3,000 power helps you hit different thresholds that you weren't going to hit. In the discussion between between 19k to 21k, you know, whether it's force or excel, you know, those numbers really don't change guarding much. You know, that's still a 10k shield for both, but him putting the +3 and putting cards over to 22, I think is really important, you know, for our protect next match, especially since OTT is the #1 deck in the format. You know, being able to hit 22, I think, is really important. So that's why I like his skill. Now his restanding skill, I think his restanding skill is, you know, can be risky, so to speak. Obviously it depends on your opponent. That third and fourth battle, depending on how you set your board up and your attack patterns, can be very pressurizing. Your opponent's going to lose a lot of cards in their hand, or depending on how much they value Maelstrom restanding and you getting an extra 2 checks, you know, they'll either block it or take it and hope to hit a trigger. And the cool thing is that you don't have to activate it. You don't have to activate it. It could just be there as you know, potentially as a threat, you know, because, you know, if you're guarding against it, you know, smart player would be like, well, if I take this attack, how many more attacks does my opponent have in addition to his Vanguard afterwards? Because a lot of times you're going to be, you know, this skill is kind of like you're fishing for, you know, heal triggers, draw triggers, try to hit a front trigger so that you have other attacks hitting. Now, if your opponent, you know, takes it on the third battle and they don't hit a trigger, then that can definitely be really devastating for them. So his restand skill is decent. The discarding 2 cards, that's really up to where your hand is at, where the game is at. That's really up to the player's discretion to use, because when you're in that situation, you have to think, okay, well, I'm at 5 damage. I just drove check like a draw trigger and a heal trigger, something like that. What you know, I can get my restand off if it hits, but what do I have to give up? Am I going to give up 2 known cards that provide me defense for next turn and try and drive check some unknown cards? Is that drive check going to be worth it, you know, in terms of pushing my opponent towards that 6 damage? You know, where am I at? So the discard 2 cards restand skill is, to me, definitely player dependent. It definitely depends on where you're at in the game, what's the, you know, take into account what's the damage at, what's the board state at, what's your hand like. Are you going to kill your opponent this turn or not? Do you want to take the risk of dropping certain defensive cards for 2 random checks, hoping that you're going to fish out for something differently? You know, so that's just a lot of, you know, there's a lot of things that you have to consider when using his skill. And like I said, you don't have to use his skill, you know, then, especially, you know, if your opponent hit a trigger, you definitely don't have to use his restand skill at all. You can just, you know, unless you got a bad check, your opponent let it hit, you hit a trigger, and you're just trying to dump certain cards and fish for new ones. You know, it's just there to be really threatening. So, yeah, so there's that. Overall, playtesting with the deck is actually running a lot smoother. The restanders, again, a lot of it is just really being really important. Just knowing that Algos on Vanguard Circle definitely promotes an early game rush, but you have to understand the risks involved when using it. Tylosol's the same, you know, Tylosol's kind of the same way. Soul is our most restricted resource that we have, and you know, he has a guaranteed 3 shots when you ride up to 3, and again, the only way to build Soul is to hit with Vivian or third battle or more, or reride a grade 3. You know, Algos uses our most abundant resource, which is Counterblast, because we have cards like Penguin who can get us our counterblasting back, as well as hitting a heal trigger and healing off some damage as well. But that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys like the new setup. We're gonna be doing a lot more videos like this. I'm really glad we got some upgrades going on here. Yeah, definitely look forward to a Cardfight area live stream. We're gonna be definitely doing some live streams on here. I'm gonna be recording some games and putting them up there, obviously with the face cam and whatnot. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. And Aqua Life Baby, you already know. Peace. This is my song, by the way.